Assembly is set to adjourn Senside on Thursday, which happens to be today, marking the end of the 12th Parliament. Members of Parliament added a morning sitting today in addition to the regular afternoon sitting in bid to conclude on priority business. On Wednesday, the House dispensed with at least 7 bills, including the appropriations bill.
It is a race against time for the 12th Parliament as its life comes to an end this Thursday. With several crucial bills and motions still pending, legislators this week have been forced to extend sittings past 7 p.m, with some spilling over to midnight. During the Wednesday morning sitting, the House leadership scheduled morning sitting on Thursday to enable the House consider priority bills related to the budget processing.
This House resolves to hold a morning sitting on Thursday, June 9th, 2022, that is tomorrow, commencing at 9:30 a.m. for purposes of considering priority business ahead of the Sinadie recess. One more session in the morning so that we process, especially matters of finance.
During the Wednesday sitting, the House expedited its business dispensing with at least 7 bills and reduced publication period for the supplementary appropriations bill to allow for the House clear with it tomorrow.
Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it.
Meanwhile, the National Assembly Watchdog Committee is warning heads of state corporations against signing off state assets without following the law. The Public Investment Committee 860-page report on financial statements of state corporations revealed how Treasury compelled state corporations to give out their asset as collateral for foreign contracts. The Senate is still scheduled to hold sittings until Thursday next week.
We have a state corporation that has geothermal wells, but the CS for energy, who is in charge of giving the authority for that particular state corporation to supply power to Kenya Power and Lighting, decides to sit on that particular approval. As that is going on, the same department, ministry, is busy approving independent power producers who are selling power at a more expensive price, Mr. Speaker. That those decisions have to be reversed. The issue of Kenya Ports Authority's involvement on matters of Kenya Railway has to change, and that is the reason and the genesis as to why people of this country were being forced to use the SGR. The reason is exactly that, Mr. Speaker. KPA went and signed off. We were singing about this when we were being told that we were academic dwarfs. We were talking about this, Mr. Speaker, when we were being told that we do not know what we are doing.
So today at 9:30, we're going to be broadcasting live from the Assembly there, where MPs will have the morning session to somewhat, say kwaheri to each other, because we are, as I said, the National Assembly is actually come to its end, so to speak, in matters of legal. The Senate, on its part, adjourned sitting sin die on today, which happens to be Thursday, and now MPs' terms end immediately, and new members of the 13th Parliament will be sworn in. That is after the polls, I'm sure. So after today, MPs can only convene if the Speaker recalls members for a special sitting. And all this will be broadcast to you live in not too long. Now we cross over to the roads, where over 2,000 people lost their lives in road accidents between January and May this year. This is according to the statistics released by the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA, that says there's need to intensify road safety campaigns to save lives.
The ban on the trade in scrap metal has been termed as a win in efforts to save Kenya's vital infrastructure. The recent blackout and the subsequent findings that vandals had breached the very core of Kenya's electricity supply led to announcement of the moratorium. And now, KENHA, The National Transport and Safety Authority and the National Police Service are partnering to scale up road safety and reduce cost of maintenance.
What is unspoken is the danger that we have faced over the years because of vandalism. This came to the media and Kenyans were concerned, but we should equally be concerned about vandalism on road infrastructure and generally infrastructure in itself, because we build this infrastructure out of a lot of money contributed by taxpayers, and really there's no reason why we should incur such expense and then vandalize it again and be able to, it doesn't bring enough returns to society, and I think it's important that these menace be stopped.
Kenha says it is spending a fortune to repair guardrails and road signs, which are often vandalized or stolen by thieves.
We think that up to 10% of the amount of money that we are using to repair roads could have been avoided if we didn't have vandalism. Vandalism and also issues of accidents that also cause vehicles maybe knock out signs, and therefore once it is knocked out, if there's not enough care, then the vandals just come and pick it. And this habit has crept in until even the signs that are not perhaps damaged, the unscrupulous people come to vandalize them. So we think that this issue needs to be stemmed.
Deputy Director in charge of Safety Strategies and County Coordination (NTSA), Duncan Kibogong, attributed most of the road accident-related deaths to reckless driving.
So much of the rise of the fatalities are due to the increase of the number of vehicles, in particular border border. We always register up to 30,000 border border every year in the Republic of Kenya. And this has been the major cause. If you see our statistics, currently border deaths are up to 40%, having risen from as little as 5% over 15 years ago to the current about 40% contribution of all fatalities. So that is because of the high number of border.
Indeed, those are glaring statistics there. So between January and May, we have lost 2,000 people on our roads. That is very long. That's a very short period to lose that amount of people on the road. So for motorists as well as pedestrians, we need to be a little bit careful. Now let's talk about Matters ICT, where you can now sign up for free online digital training by logging onto a portal established by government targeting to offer 20 million Kenyans relevant digital and technical skills. ICT Cabinet Secretary Joe Mucheru says the program will also cater to learners from grade 1, since coding has been included in the curriculum under the digital literacy program.
About 230 million jobs in Africa will need digital skills by the year 2030, while the value of Africa's internet economy is projected to more than double to over $200 billion within the next 3 years. Kenya now becomes the first country in Africa to implement a coding syllabus into the formal learning curriculum under the digital literacy program.
On the portal, which is citizentraining.icta.go.ke, that is the portal where you can be able to register to receive training. And now we have 1.9 million people working online. That number will grow, and we hope that number will be more than 10 million in the next 2 years. Because if those 1.9 million just train 10, then we'll be almost 20 million. So a big number can happen actually very quickly.
ICT skill development is really key for us. And the only way to achieve that is by starting at a very early age, whereby you introduce coding in grade 1.
Mucheru says incorporating coding into fundamental learning during formative years is strategic for Kenya, adding that the government, in collaboration with the banking industry, plans to roll out a 3-year leasing program for devices in schools to solve the digital equipment shortage.
As opposed to buying them, and then after 3 years, we're looking at how do we, first of all, the end of life, sell them to buy new ones.
The program will take cohorts of 2 million Kenyans per year, with plans to cover 20 million Kenyans in the next 10 years.
This time we are talking of industrializing our country. This is the foundation now. Our children want to have given them the base.
All these initiatives call for serious partnership and collaboration among government, private sector, and development partners.
The future is clearly digital, with the government's commitment in ensuring all Kenyans are equipped with relevant skills. We can harness the wonders of technology through relevant training.
Back, Saeed, there, recapping what was launched yesterday, targeting 20 million Kenyans there with, to attain digital skills. As they say, the fourth industrial revolution is going to be driven by ICT. Now, on to matters infrastructure. The public will soon be able to pay for the use of the Nairobi expressway using mobile money. Now, the Kenya National Highways Authority says the operator of the expressway is working with various telcos to integrate mobile money payment solutions among the 3 available payment options. KENHA Director General Engineer Kongo Ndogo further says 17,000 vehicles are using the road on average daily since it was opened to the public on the 14th of May.
Since the Nairobi Expressway was opened to the public on a trial basis on the 14th of May 2022, the road has experienced congestion on some exit ramps, especially at Museum Hill Loop. This has been blamed on the high number of those using the cash payment mode, with the data from Moja Expressway indicating that 65.5% of road users are paying via cash mode, which takes longer than the electronic and card options. According to the Moja data, electronic toll collection option is the second popular mode of payment, accounting for 25.8% of all payment. Manual toll collection users come last with 8.7%. The Kenya National Highways Authority Director General Engineer Kongo Ndogo says to boost the number of electronic toll collection and manual toll collection centers, Moja Expressway plans to roll out more payment centers to complement the current 2 available, which are based along Mombasa Road and Lavington.
And we are encouraging most of the motorists, if not all of us, to migrate from cash payments to electronic payments. And electronic payments are available to any of us for any vehicle, including PSVs, where you install a unit that allows you to seamlessly go through the exit points, and similarly also at the entry points.
KENHA and Moja engineers are redesigning the Kenyatta Avenue Uhuru Highway Junction to erect another exit ramp towards the Central Business District and Valley Road.
Initially, we were to run around where we have the Green Park. But due to several difficulties, that was reconsidered. But now we are reconsidering introducing at least a ramp that drops in town. And we believe this will enhance convenience for many of us who will be moving towards the CBD and support the city center in terms of movement.
To facilitate pedestrian crossing, KENHA will construct 6 more bridges along the highway to complement the existing 4. The KENHA DG further says the rehabilitation of Mombasa Road is set to begin in a month's time.
That follows, some traffic snarl-ups that have been observed along the expressway, especially at the toll points. We hope that this is going to be rectified so that the expressway can continue meeting its objective there. This takes us to the sporting arena, where Africa 100 meters record holder Ferdinand Omanyala and National Women 100 meters record holder Maximila Imali advanced the finals of their 100 meters at the ongoing Africa Senior Athletics Championship in Redouit, Mauritius.
C'est quoi le mode de qualification? Mode de qualification, c'est quoi? C'est 2 premiers ou 3 premiers?
Here we go for the split 100 meters men.
Ouais, donc c'est parti pour cette première série de 100 mètres chez les messieurs avec le couloir numéro 1 actuellement qui s'impose et qui roule vraiment devant le 6.
Race there, Omanyala clocked 10.07 seconds to win his semi-final heat ahead of Gilbert Maseko of Namibia and Bibino of Mauritius to qualify for the finals scheduled for today. So we wish you all the best, Fanidad, there. Then in the women's category, Maximila Imali finished 3rd in her semi-final heat, clocking 11.76 seconds behind Karina Horn of South Africa and God Bless Timber of Nigeria, who finished first and second. Now, we wish both all the best and all the other Kenyans that are participating in this particular games there. Now, still keeping up on matters sports is that with 50 days to go to the Commonwealth Games, former Sevens captain Andrew Amonde and Malkia Strikers captain Mercy Moim led a session of interaction with Commonwealth Games bound squad, where the two athletes moved to encourage and motivate them ahead of the club games. Remember, further details on regard to this are available on our website. We also have a keen focus on, the 20 drivers who have already signed up for the 6th round of the National Autocross Championship that will be held this weekend in Kiambu. So if you do not have a plan, well, the autocross might just be your weekend plan this weekend. That puts a cap on matters in the headlines. We'll be back with the dailies in not long. Do not go away.
What? You weren't hoping that you could be the king, right?
I'd never.
Really?
I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay here with my master.
You're right. I killed her. I did it with my own bare hands. I took her by the throat just like this, and I choked that. When did you become so powerful?
Overtime ya kuuza insurance. Zio insurance mpaka uziuze ndo mimi nipate kitu.
Hayo hayakuhusu.
Yani husu, manake mimi pia namtaka Dingo. Na kwa hivi sasa Dingo na Lea hawaelewani, wako vitani.
I'm not joking, Jackie.
And I heard you the first time.
Mimi simtaki hapa kwangu. Yeye aende akatibiwe huko kwa mume wake.
Juhudi zako za kunikosesha mimi na matatizo zimefeli.
Kisii County is majorly known for its bananas and has been thriving on soapstone. Kisii candidates are gearing up for the next governor of this county. What is their agenda for Kisii? Don't miss the Kisii County gubernatorial debate from Kisii University this Thursday on the 9th of June, exclusively on KBC Channel 1 from 9:50 p.m.
I actually think I was wrong about Jonty.
You are.
Just stop. Just stop.
Webe yako inaenolewa. Inaendelea kunolewa tu.
Nikiwa tifu, mjue mtaishi huku hivi.
Leo iko siku mwisho na kuona hapo, sawa?
Stop whatever you're doing and leave.
Tifu, kwani mimi ndio nimefanya ukasirikage?
You're fired. Why are you testing my patience?
Watch your mouth, young lady. Wayune is older than you.
And who do you think hired her?
It's your boyfriend you should be angry at. Behind bars, where he belongs, or just looking the way he does.
Really, Kathy?
Amekuja huko?
Kwani yako amekwambia?
Hapana.
Fadhana kama chanta kupigia.
Chunga sana usibomoe boma ya mwenzako.
Afrika na mtu anamuongelesha, lazima ikuwe wewe.
Na ukiendelea hivi, utazeeka ukiwa mwanamke mwenye machungu sana.
Na hata kama pesa yangu ya kwanza ilipotea, Mungu hakunisahau, alinipatia ingine.
Mama Jen, are you insecure?
Christine, hiyo kiburi yako itaisha tu.
Pete, why is your sister here?
The world does not revolve around you. Well, actually, let me go home. Yeah.
Sasa ndio nimerealize unafaa work out on some things. Hapa nitatoka skule Pete ataniambia nitoke. Umesikia?
Welcome back. We continue with Good Morning Kenya. Now we get to have a quick look at what the dailies have for us today. I start you off with the Daily Nation. The main read concerns the IEBC, given they are on the spot considering the amendments that they had proposed were rejected by members of parliament yesterday, throwing a whole spanner in the works, given we have about 61 days to the general elections. And according to IEBC, and the Election Act, they are supposed to be ready for everything by this time. 60 days to the general elections is the deadline. And actually today is the day where they get to test out the equipment that they had acquired for the elections. And that will be happening later on at the Bomas of Kenya. But the main read today concerns... let me just read it as it has been written here. Ghosts of 2017 as MPs reject Chebukati laws. This means if these amendments are not considered again because they were thrown out over a number of reasons by the MPs, that means we're going to be dealing with the same challenges that we dealt with back in 2017, which resulted to the nullification of the presidential elections. And that is definitely something that we do not hope will happen. But then again, I will be giving you more details about this story, but majorly it focuses on the 3G coverage, questions around the technology that is going to be used, the servers, results transmission, and system testing. Away from that, new poll claims Raila is 4 points ahead of Ruto should the elections be done today. Hypothetically speaking, if we had the elections today, Raila Odinga would score a good 42% and DP Ruto would be having 38%, and another 20% are still undecided as to whom they will vote for once we get to that point. And those basically are the two stories that have been featured here. Of course, we'll be giving you more details in just a bit, so do stay with us. Mike.
Yes, and on the Star, still the same thing. An info tracker study has shown that Raila is leading by 42% and the Deputy President, William Ruto, is at 38%. This comes as the decision to make Martha Karua the Deputy for Azimio, and of course, Rigathi Gachagua as Deputy for the other camp. Still on the front page of the Star, KCB stopped from seizing English Point Marina. Kenya Commercial Bank has been stopped by the High Court from seizing English Point Marina in Mombasa over a 4.8 billion shilling debt. Still on the front page, DP to protect Mitumba traders if he wins elections. Now, the Deputy President William Ruto and other Kenya Kwanza leaders have continued to criticize Raila Odinga over his remark on second-hand clothes. Ruto assured Mitumba traders that the Kenya Kwanza administration will protect and support them. Still on the front page of the Star, last but not least, milk prices to remain high until supply stabilizes, says livestock PS. Now, just a little information on that before we continue. Between April and May, the price of a 500 ml packet of fresh milk increased by 3 shillings to sell at 57 shillings, and long life milk currently retails at an average of 70 shillings. So hopefully things will change very soon. Doreen?
Right, so education sector is doing well despite the COVID-19 toll. This is a recent report that has been released by the World Bank, which also indicates that 17 million students and 320,000 tutors were affected by the closure of 30,000 learning institutions. But even at that, it still shows that at least the education sector is carrying on well amid that COVID-19 that really disrupted learning. The report also further indicates that the digital learning which was introduced also resulted to a sharp divide in that respect, as there were issues to do with internet connectivity, electricity in some parts of the country. Still sticking with matters education, there's another chance for pupils to revise varsity college choices. This is what the Kenya Universities and College Central Placement Service now said, and this is particularly to those students who, or better still, those that are eligible to revise their courses, that are those who are not picked to pursue the courses in the first place, and they have up until this week Saturday to do that. This is again to ensure there's proper transition from secondary schools to tertiary and university institutions. And also taxpayers are set to pay 2.2 billion to send legislators home. This is particularly for the 416 members of parliament. This is for both the Senate and the National Assembly. The report also indicates that 5.8 million will be paid in terms of pension to those legislators that served for only one term. For those that served for 2 terms, will pocket a cool 7.8 million as their pension package. This is even as we await that last sitting, which is slated to happen today. And again, we obviously have that particular story on what InfoTrack has released recently in terms of if elections were to be held today, where Raila has 42% support and Ruto at 8%. And this report by InfoTrack mirrors also a latest survey that was conducted by TIFA. This, they say, has resulted rather to the choice of running mates that these two leaders picked. This is what has resulted to those percentages there for both of them. And lastly, audit and arts wrote in voter register. This is just as it was released yesterday by the electoral body as well as the KMPG, which is supposed to release that voter registry. This was to be done by 7th of this month, but that has been postponed to 17th due to issues that they raised there, key among them being dead voters, those who had registered more than once, as well as those with invalid identity cards. Part of also what they're seeking to just clarify, and better still to ensure, even as they clean up the voter registry, is particularly for those that had raised concerns of them being transferred, particularly if you registered in this particular area and then you're transferred to another area without your consent. That is also what the electoral body is seeking to just see how well they can see how best rather they can address such concerns before the August 9th general elections. Regina.
Indeed, I'm skimming through this particular daily, being the Standard, and the top story here, it's about the end of the 12th Parliament. We just informed you that we are going to be broadcasting from 9:30 live, where MPs will have a morning session to bid each other farewell. And after today, only the Assembly, that is the Speaker of the National Assembly, can recall the members of Parliament for a special sitting. So the MP's term end immediately, and new members of the 13th Parliament will be sworn in. After that is the polls that we're looking at, be 61 days to go. Now, this is a house that has sat since August 31st of 2017, and it has had its own share of ups and downs, and we're just going to skim through just to give you some of the statistics there in as far as the constitution of Parliament. This particular article has gone further to look at the MP's education so far. In the House, the 12th House, we had 34 members of Parliament who were PhD holders, where 34 completed, while one also has a honorary doctorate, and 8 are ongoing. 134 have a master's degree, 10 have at least 2 degrees, while 140 MPs hold diplomas. Now, first-time MPs include Mohammed Ali, former journalist there, Charles Njagwa, you know him as Jaguar, Japheth Mutahi, Nelson Koech, Brighton Yegon, Eve Akinyi-Obara, Gladys Bose-Shule, Beatrice Konas, Naisula Lesuda, who is also a former, KBC employee here and a journalist who used to anchor this particular show all the way from 2010 to 2012 there. Lillian Achieng Kogo and Charity Kathambi Chepkwon. These are first-time members of parliament. And we've been talking about, tyranny of numbers in the August House, the 12th parliament. And just to give you some statistics in as far as the MPs distribution after the 2017 election results, Jubilee had 140 members of parliament elected to the 12th parliament, ODM 62, Wiper 19, Independent 13, Amani National Congress 12, and others account for less than 8. Tyranny of numbers, conversations about what passes, what doesn't. So it has been a mixed bag. That was the 12th parliament's tenure. That is the main read there, fleshed out in around 3-4 pages of this particular issue of the Standard, being the 9th of June 2022 there. Well, the Senate, on the other hand, is going to be adjourning today. Other top stories include banks close 3.5 million accounts. Yes, we are not doing so well as a country in as far as matters of finances are concerned. And talking about finances is that now Kenyans have moved cash into dollar accounts as farms feel the shortage, a move that the government, or rather Treasury, is blaming manufacturers for the artificial shortage of dollars. The numbers are 811 billion shillings is cash that has been converted to US dollars that is held by Kenyans, even as the country grapples with a dollar shortage. In matters of security, remember that man who actually took himself to the DCI following the shoot down that was captured by CCTV footage along Mirema Drive in Nairobi. Well, now the charges have been dropped. So the detectives investigating the killing of Samuel Muvota told the court that they had completed investigations, but they could not find any evidence linking Dennis Karani Gashoki with the chilling murder that took place on May 16th. That's just but a quick update of what is happening in the corridors of justice. Ahead of the August poll, 61 days to go. There's a push and pull when it comes to governors and senators. Now 24 governors to defend their seats as 10 senators seek top county jobs. Who are these senators who are eyeing the gubernatorial seat? We have James Orengo of CIS, Sam Ongeri of Kisii, Kimani Wamatangi Kiambu, Irongo Kangata of Murang'a, Johnson Sakaja of Nairobi, Charles Kibiru of Kirinyaga, Cleopas Malala of Kakamega, Susan Keheka Nakuru, and Mutula Kilonzo of Makueni. Will they unseat the current holders of those particular seats? Well, August 9th is just but 61 days to go. Thank you very much, everyone who is watching online. I can see quite a number of you are streaming, or rather are watching on live stream on our various social media platforms. We have Enoch Cheruiyot, who is watching from Nairobi. We also have Sergeant Haron, who is watching from Nairobi. We also have Robert Njenge, who is equally watching. Remember, we're streaming on our various platforms, and you can also be part of this conversation. You can get us on Twitter on KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle is @RayManyara. For now, we take a quick breather. We'll be right back.
I actually think I was wrong about Jonty.
You are.
Just stop. Just stop.
Webe yako inaenolewa. Inaendelea kunolewa tu.
Nikiwatifu, mjue vile mtaishi huku hivi.
Leo kusikia mwisho na kuona hapo, sawa?
Stop whatever you're doing and leave.
Tifo, kwani mimi ndio nimefanya ukasirikane?
You're fired.
Hey.
Why are you testing my patience?
Watch your mouth, young lady. Wayune is older than you.
And who do you think hired her?
It's your boyfriend you should be angry at. Behind bars, where he belongs, or just looking the way he does.
Really, Kathy?
Overtime ya kuuza insurance. Zo insurance mpaka uziuze ndo mimi nipate kitu.
Hayo hayakuhusu.
Yani husu, manake mimi pia namtaka Dingo. Na kwa hivi sasa Dingo na Lea hawaelewani, wako vitani.
I'm not joking, Jackie.
And I heard you the first time.
Mimi simtaki hapa kwangu. Yeye aende akatibiwe huko kwa mume wake.
Juhudi zako za kunikosesha mimi na matatizo zimefeli.
Kuna siku wewe nimesema unikuje nikuwekelea kwa kamboni.
Uwekelea aje mimi ni pesa?
Uwekelee nani?
Sasa nikwambie, mimi sijui kama mtanisaidia mtu wangu aende rehabilitation.
Enga kawera kila
wewe.
Naongea na pipi yangu naona niletea ukali. Hadi wewe una point nani? Una point nani?
Si ulichaguliwa kama treasurer.
Na mimi si banki mheshimiwa.
Na kuna shahidi mwingine.
Wewe kuna pesa ulichanga? Hapana. Very good. Unaweza tu toa kelele yako hapa upeleke kule unapelekanga uachane na mimi alone. Leave me mind your own business.
My destiny, I wanna rule my destiny.
Oh yes, teacher, you must be looking forward to holding your baby brother when he gets here.
Mwalimu, there is this one name that I've been longing and wanting to call a baby.
Come in. A baby or you a baby?
Julia, uliniona na mtoto wapi? Sina mtoto.
You see, Madam Antibella, thanks to you, I'm now a laughing stock in this school. I cannot even teach in peace.
Of course. How can you teach in peace when you come to school drunk every day, every morning?
I'm not drunk. Nanuka tu pombe ya jana.
Cinemas and Theatre. Brought to you by the Kenya Film Commission. Film Kenya, Capture Africa.
Tukipita na msee, tunamfinya kwanza, alafu tunawahi do. Finya do.
Remember Squad is a comic web series whose storyline revolves around two newly recruited police officers who have been eyeing to join the big league.
Crime law, mafia, deep state mse.
They must prove their skills after they find themselves at the center of Nairobi's criminal underworld.
Duru za kuaminika za tuarifu kwamba the Kibiriti Gang wamejirudisha uwanjani.
Produced by Chatterbox Film and Theatre, Wembe Squad features talented actors such as Ben Teke, Brian Ngaira, Esther Kazungu, Foy Wamboi, Lucy Wache and Justice Mirichi, just to mention a few.
Shukuru sa God wako sikupata, nikuitana mgeitana.
We had a fantastic cast for Wembe Squad. I mean, everybody, that's probably one of the best feedbacks we're getting, that everybody was right for their role. We had a fantastic set, it was good, it was fun. Guys were ready to work. I think also the script helped in giving guys that excitement and that psych to put their best foot forward.
According to John Jumbi, Wembe Squad available on base.co.ke.
Wembe Squad. Wembe Squad.
Tunakupata captain.
Mko sawa? Over.
Tuko poa.
Which is purposefully for entertainment, is a parody that humorously exaggerates the cop action comedy genre.
There's the buddy cop genre, which is a big genre even internationally, where you have two cops of very different personalities who have to work together. I wanted to write two characters who are having fun, all right, who are not quite competent about the job they're doing. They've been thrown into the deep end, but they have to come up with results. So it's kind of life, you know. Sometimes you don't have all the tools you need to do whatever is required from you, but you do it anyway. So I felt that those two characters kind of mirrored life in that regard.
It is no doubt the film industry locally has continued to buzz with amazing content, with filmmakers appreciating the tremendous growth witnessed while at it.
I think there's a lot of potential, and we are seeing it. There is a lot of storytelling, original storytelling coming out. I think it's a great time for filmmaking in Kenya, in East Africa, in Africa. We're at a great place. We're at a great place because I think now we are closer to the audience. Maybe 10 years ago, that wasn't the case. Now, because of digital mostly, we are so much closer to the audience in terms of how they can access the films and how they can consume the films as well.
Jacqueline Masharia for Cinemas and the Theatre.
Gasket. Hiyo tumekataa.
Cinemas and Theatre. Brought to you by the Kenya Film Commission. Film Kenya, Capture Africa.
Kwenye mkulima juma hili tutaongeza matunda dhamana.
Mara nyingi wakulima unapata hawapati faida ya mimea ambayo wanayo mara nyingi, kwa sababu number one, hawajui umuhimu wa hiyo mimea, na hata kama wanajua umuhimu wanauza.
Welcome back. We're still on with Good Morning Kenya. Time for our first conversation this Thursday morning. Before we get on to matters entertainment, we start with lifestyle and fashion, and lifestyle is our focus today. Looking at retro vintage styling is what we'll be focusing on largely. My guest is already here, Festo Mashira, who describes himself as a retro vintage stylist. Karibu sana to the program.
Thank you.
Tuanzie tu kwanza with that.
Yes.
What is retro vintage styling?
Retro vintage is a style that revived to the past. It is the style that is relating to the past. The retro, the prefix retro is, it means backward, it means flashback. So it is anything old that appeals to the eyes, e.g. vintage, fashion, pictures, styles, pieces, decor, and a lifestyle. So when you are doing retro, you are doing a lifestyle and art.
So it's basically the old.
It is old, which executes art.
All right.
Yeah.
Old that executes art.
Yeah.
When did you begin doing this?
I began this when I was in high school. I used to participate in drama. So I was fascinated with the way people were dancing and people were using their costumes to perform folk songs. And so I wanted to encounter this journey of doing art. So the moment I left high school, I joined Moi University. And in Moi University, I did literature, where I encountered writers, musicians in the 4 years that I was in Moi University. So it is something that I have been living with. It is something that I have been dreaming of. Yeah.
So is this like a business for you? Ama, how do you do this styling?
This style, to me, I can say it is a lifestyle. Then again, I can do business with it.
So largely, is it a business?
It is both.
It's both?
Yeah, it is a lifestyle.
So do you have like a shop, or do you like sell? What is it exactly?
In the case of retro, I am the shop myself.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
I am the dummy myself. I sell myself. So in the case of business, I sell silver and other things like gold, watches. So people are using this figure, this retro, to engage me in business. So they want to see Festo so that they can buy from Festo. Yeah. So I use my name as a brand. Yeah.
So the business side of it, ilianza when exactly, and how has it been, you know, just being in this kind of fashion business? Because all the time, most times we talk about fashion, we always think about the clothing side of it. We rarely think about the jewelry part of it, which is what you're largely engaged into.
Okay, I decided to do business because I graduated as a teacher, but you know our system, it is taking long to absorb other teachers. So instead of waiting, I had to do something constructive. That's why I started selling silver.
Which year was this?
It was 2 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, I started selling silver, and this business has grown. People are looking for me. People are engaging me on social media that they want to buy from me because I have sold my silver items to big names here in Kenya, but also internationally, of which it has made me to be known, not here in Kenya, but internationally. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Quite interesting. So the silver, is it silver and gold or just silver?
It is silver.
Strictly silver.
Silver for now, but gold.
This is the chains, earrings, basically jewelry.
Like this one, I can say this one. This one is a sample of silver items. This
That's
one,
original?
Yeah, this one is original. It has a number. The number is 9.
What's that, the serial number?
Those are the code.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
9254. That is for silver. But for gold is 950. That is for 21 karat. And for 18 karat is 750. Yeah. So if you want to identify a gold, you first of all look at the code. Then you look at the appearance. If you touch a gold, it will attract you. Yeah. But silver, it is easy to identify because people have been putting on silver in Kenya, and people are not new to silver here in Kenya. So you might identify original silver, and also you might identify a fake silver by just looking at it and also by the texture.
Okay.
Yeah.
First, how do your clients believe? I mean, when you look at these items, particularly silver and gold, there's so many fake of them. in the market, sometimes even for those that are in this business, could be difficult for their clientele to believe that this is actually legit stuff that you're selling to them. Have you encountered such kind of clients where this might not just be the original item that you want to sell to me?
Okay, that is a good question. You know, in any business, there must be competitors. Even when you are dealing with maybe say vehicles or alcohol, you will find more competitors in the business. So I feel that people who are bringing counterfeit as original silver, they are right because they are in business. So we cannot deny them a chance to do their business. But if you have a legit thing, people will come for you each and every time.
All right.
Yeah.
What are your off-peak, what are your peak seasons, off-peak? We have peak seasons and off-peak seasons in business, in any kind of business, you know, and also largely fashion. Time gani zinakuanga peak, time gani zinakuanga off-peaks, and what informs that?
Okay, the good time is the festival seasons. For example, Eid and Christmas Eve. They are the best seasons for us to sell the silver. Yeah.
So mostly Christmas seasons, celebratory seasons, those are peak seasons.
People want to dress. Yeah, so those are the seasons that we get good clients. Yeah.
So for you, was it fashion? Is this something you had envisioned doing? Yes, you said you did education in school.
Yes.
But then at the back of your mind, was fashion something you had envisioned doing, and given another chance, would you still be in the fashion business?
Fashion is a talent, just like art. Art is a talent. It is something that someone is born with. So even if, for example, you are a news anchor and you have a talent in fashion, you will come with it in this job. Yeah, so even me in business, I go with my fashion. Even in school discourse, I go with my fashion. So I want to be identified as a stylish teacher. I want to be identified as a stylish business personnel. Yeah, so fashion, it is something that is inborn. Then business, it is a skill as well as education. Yeah.
Let's talk about marketing. I mean, in every business, there's that marketing aspect of it. Which is your best way of marketing your products? Be it whether it's the, you know, the old, as you mentioned, the styling bit of it, the jewelry part of it. Which is your style of marketing? My marketing, first of all, it is derived from my stylish jewelry, because for me, jewel is just a fashion, and then I take it as a style, as a lifestyle. As I said earlier on, that when you are dealing with retro, you are dealing with lifestyle. So I had to pick every items on the way. So the moment I picked silver, people are coming for me. So I had to venture on. And you largely deal with silver. Jewelry items, silver. Yeah, so even, for example, the last week on the Nairobian Gazette, I was featured as my stylish jewelry items keep customers coming. I saw that. Yeah, so it is my style that is making people to come. So I have to stick with this style, and I have to be relevant in this style so that people could come for me. Yeah, so I use something. I use like maybe say a bait to catch the fish. So that's how you do. This is a bait. Yeah, this is a bait because people will go for brand. They won't go for product. So people are buying the brand. They are buying retro vintage. They are buying Chira. Yeah. All right. So how does social media play a part in your marketing, or is it referrals also part of what, you know, aids in your marketing for your product? When you are speaking about media,
we are speaking about visual art for me. I use visual art, for example, to capture, to appeal to the audience. Then the audience will see this person is using even silver in this visual art. So I want something like this. I want what this person is wearing. So I have to engage this person to tell me where he's getting this silver. But fortunately enough, it is an advantage to me because I am the one who is selling the silver. Yeah.
Now, going by that, headline, that article, because I actually read it, saying that your stylish jewelry items keep customers coming.
Thank you.
What is so catchy about your items? I mean, you could get many people in the fashion space, and this is actually fashion dealing with jewelry, because fashion is broad, you understand?
Yes.
So what exactly about your items keep customers coming? What makes tick about the way in which you do your business, the way in which you have kept your items, the way in which you treat your clients or customers, so to speak?
Okay, items to me is diverse. It is not only silver. It is also watches like this one. This one is retro.
Jewelry.
Yeah, jewelry. It is a jewelry, and it is also my item. So I have to market it well. So I have to assemble every pieces that looks like retro, something that was in the past. So I have to pick everything on the way that was in the past in order to bring it to the limelight. Then people will see, because people have been looking for these items, they will engage me later, maybe on social media. When they read about the newspapers that have been featured, they will come to me.
You've brought all of them here. The ones
I want to sell myself. Today is the best day for me because I've never done a retro vintage interview. I've been doing just normal interviews. But this one is a retro vintage interview integrated with business.
All right. Now, fashion is one of those things, whichever way you want to look at it, and like as I mentioned earlier, fashion is broad.
Yes.
For what you largely deal with is the jewelry aspect of it, and you've talked about the items in which you deal with. But then again, how do you keep up with the trends? I mean, trends keep emerging day in, day out. There's always something new in the market. As someone who is into fashion, jewelry, how do you keep up with that?
First of all, retro vintage is timeless. It will never go out of the market. Every time people want to listen about the old school music, they want to see the old fashion, they want to see the old vibe. Again, retro vintage is unique because when you see a retro car, you will stare at it for a long time, unlike a Toyota V8 car, because it is normal. But this one is standing out as the only one. So that thing of loneliness is the one that makes me going. Again, retro vintage is it is a nostalgic experience. People will want to explore in this thing. Maybe, for example, you have done your shirt like this. To me, I see it as a retro vintage. I can put on a shirt like this only to capture the attention of the people. So I want to explore this in order to bring the people on board. Again, retro vintage is easy to afford. You cannot walk from here going to downtown without meeting a vintage shirt which is sold at a cheaper price. So people go for cheap things. That's why retro vintage will still be timeless and it will still stand out forever and ever. Yeah.
So for you, it's basically what makes this kind of jewelry unique. That's how you also keep up with the trends in the market when it comes to fashion jewelry.
Uniqueness. When I was doing my course in the university, I was taught about literature and postmodernism. That is about creating an image. So if you create the image, people will judge you by your image. They will look at you and judge you by just seeing you. So if you create your image perfectly as a stylish, then people will look for you. Those who want to be stylish, to be a stylist, will look for you. Yeah.
All right, you also talked about affordability, cheapness, expensive in terms of items. Let's talk about pricing of items. How do you go about pricing items? Because again, you're not just into fashion styling, but you're also into business. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, my items, for example, silver. New silver goes for 250 Kenya shillings, 1 gram. So, for example, this one is 30 grams. If you multiply by 250, it gives you 7,500. So, we do weigh on the scale before we sell to the customers. So, we use the weighing scale to sell our items. Yeah.
Now, in terms of keeping up with the market, you also talked about, and read the article there, particularly on this daily. This should be what, the Nairobian?
This one is the Nairobian.
Yeah, you talked about the fact that competition is one of those challenges. And I'm thinking in every business, competition should be one of those things that need not to be a challenge. In any way, it needs to be something that allows you to think broader, to be more creative. So maybe you can just talk to us a bit about that. How does this pose a challenge? And this is also particularly for those doing this kind of business, given the fact that people are really venturing into fashion, and it could be any form of fashion. How does competition pose a challenge for a business person, particularly those into fashion?
Competition creates fear, and if you are afraid, you will not move on with your business. So I welcome competitions in my life. So this competition will make me to move and stand strong. And when these competitors come with their things, I also have my own way of doing my things. So I also have my own way of selling my silver. I also have maybe a mode of keeping up with the business. Yeah.
So we can say that competition does not pose a challenge to you. It actually
competition is not a challenge to me.
It makes you become more creative.
Yeah, it makes me to think each and every time. It is not a challenge at all.
And it's not a challenge.
It is not a challenge.
You said something different with what you're saying.
It is a challenge, but it is not making me to fear.
Let's say it is a positive challenge.
It is a positive.
Every business needs to have competition.
But the worst challenge is insecurity. You know about people are being looked down upon when you are putting on silver. They think that you are a thug. Maybe you have lost focus. You are now coming. Maybe you are in a bad company. So that is the worst challenge to me.
All right. Yeah. So as we wind down first with this conversation, I would just like you to speak to someone who really wants to get into this kind of business, fashion business, as we said, and particularly jewelry, since that's what you largely deal with. As we said, like, this is a business where you'd get particularly good number of young people getting into. It's fashion. It could be dressing, it could be jewelry, it could be styling, whichever form of fashion there is. What do they need to know when they get in this kind of space?
First of all, they should know their purpose on the earth, because some people want to come into this business, but they are not ready. But when they go to other businesses, they become successful. So if you choose to become a silver dealer, you have to be strong. Because there are people who have been there in the business, and there are people will still come to the business. So you have to focus. You have to put your energy in this, and you also have to pray so that the Lord could open the doors for you.
Good place to end it. Focus, pray, and know why you're getting into that kind of business. I mean, purpose at the end of the day is what makes it key, isn't it?
Thank you.
All right, so I have been speaking to Festo Machira, who is a retro vintage stylist, largely deals with fashion jewelry. That's why you really had him talk about silver, oftentimes this conversation. But this is where we end this first conversation of today. We still have plenty more after this break. Stick with us.
What? You weren't hoping that you could be the king, right?
I'd never.
Really?
I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay here with my master.
You're right. I killed her. I did it with my own bare hands. I took her by the throat just like this. And I choked that. When did you become so powerful?
Jumamosi hii tarehe 11 mwezi Juni, barabara zote zinaelekea katika tamasha ya Mwatu Night hapo Nedland Inn huko Malili Konza. Kutana na watangazaji shupavu wa Mwatu FM kama vile Virginia Mwikali, Patrick Musango, David Ngumbao na Eric Makau. Msanii mashuhuri Kana Niko atakuja kuwatumbuiza. Usikose kuhudhuria tamasha la Mwatu Night na Mwatu FM.
Be such a huge coward, Father. How could you leave my sister on her own? Darn you!
Kisii County is majorly known for its bananas and has been thriving on soapstone. Kisii candidates are gearing up for the next governor of this county. What is their agenda for Kisii? Don't miss the Kisii County gubernatorial debate from Kisii University this Thursday on the 9th of June exclusively on KBC Channel 1 from 9:50 p.m.
Cinemas and Theatre. Brought to you by the Kenya Film Commission. Film Kenya, Capture Africa.
To Uganda.
Tipo is a story of entanglement, love triangle and family drama which begins with Rispa, played by Caroline Midimo, who lives to fend for her children. Reacting to her own life of lack, she vows to ensure her children get the best of life through education. This informs her struggle journey as Richard, her estranged husband, moves on with his life in Newtown, marrying Pamela.
Shut up.
The script was easy to read, but emotions involved were very hard to tackle. Pamela came in as a educated, desperate young lady, yes, who found a loophole and she fixed herself. I loved telling the story.
The production of the film Tipo started in 2021 during the coronavirus pandemic.
Actually, I was shooting a film in the Luo language, yet I come from another vernacular language. Actually, at the end of it all, now I know the Luo in one way or the other.
Despite it being done in Luo, and that's why we have now the English subtitles, because it's me, you, and the next person watching, everyone connects to this Tipo film.
From the theme of love and hate, deception and truth, Tipo brings together superstars to create a one-of-its-kind film in the Luo.
We are killing the tribalism. We are not killing our ethnic backgrounds. It's the tribalistic that is bad. But the ethnic, this is what makes Kenya unique. Nigerians started with their own Igbos and Yoruba languages. It is now that they still do it, just that they've upgraded because of the international platform to do English. But majority of them are done in their languages. It is time to be us. This is who we are.
Film industry in Kenya has really developed. It's good now that as a film industry in Kenya, tunaweza ingiza film hadi Netflix. So you see, we have of which initially hata kupata platform maybe in an industry, East African maybe market ilikuwa like, whenever you see something erupt from East African market, you are like, who are these? It was something like a mileage.
The first launch is coming up this Friday, 3rd of June at the Nairobi Cinema. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. You don't want to miss the experience.
16 good years. Canada. Okay.
Jacqueline Masharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
Cinemas and Theatre.
Then they were calling me Baba Yao. So I had to convert the name a little bit. I made it Kababa.
You had to add something.
Yeah.
Some chumvi nini hapo.
Sukari kidogo. Yeah.
To make it a good art and stage name.
Yeah.
You began doing music in 2015, but professionally Kanzapo 2018.
Yeah.
How has it been doing music basically for all this time since that 2015?
Well, it's been a challenge, but you know...
Why do you start with it's been a challenge?
Because, you know, beginning music from that time, starting from that 2015, and then I finally had to do my first video in 2018, you see. So it's been quite a big gap, so I had to struggle a lot to make myself an official artist, you know, to enter YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff, you see. Yeah, that's why I'm making it that way.
All right, so these 3 years between 2015 and 18 before you began professionally, is it that you were just doing audios, ama ulikuwa tu unaandika muziki unaacha na keti pale? What was it exactly?
Well, it was both. Yeah, it was both.
But you never did a video?
I never did a video back then. Yeah.
What was the challenging bit about it? Because I mean, when you look at art in its broader perspective, or basically music, you know, good number of artists that will tell you, aside from resources, which is always a big challenge, there's also the aspect of management. Wengi hawajui could get good management, and also many of them don't even understand the business side of music. Good number just take them as talent. So for you, what exactly amongst all this was one of the biggest challenge?
Well, till right now I can say I've never been into a management stuff or something like that.
Artist,
so I'm a standalone artist. I've been doing it all myself. Yeah.
What was so difficult with getting a management? Nini nakunga ugumu na because management really helps a lot. When you look at media tours, aiding in resources, when you look at guidance, you know, mentorship, any management provides all of these things for you. So nini haso
so,
kupata management?
Management is a good stuff if you really fall into the right hands, you know. We've seen a lot of cases about management stuff, management this, that. But now the thing is, with me, it's just, let me just say that I've not found the right management to follow into. Yeah.
All this time, since we can say, since professionally, since 2018, you haven't found the good management.
I've tried signing with some management, but things do fall apart at times.
Nini exactly inafanya ina fall apart?
Well, everything is all about...
Nini hamwelewani kabisa na management?
It's money. Yeah, it's finance actually.
Money is always at the center of it.
Money is always the reason, the issue, yeah.
So when you're saying looking for a good management, I mean, I just want us to stick there a bit, because when you, like I said earlier, when you talk with good number of artists, you're one of those things that they really miss, because again, also management helps you understand the business side of music, which good number of artists miss. You know, good number of them just stick to, I am talented, mini kona talanta, so let's go. But again, there's another side that we miss a lot, which is the business side of it. So when you look at management, ama ukitafuta management, wewe hasa unatafuta nini?
Well, to me, it's not about fame, it's not about business actually that much, but I could like it to be like that. But the thing is, you know, as for me, I'm doing music because I love music. You know, I was born like that. I've been loving music all my life. So, but if it ever comes, I can't deny. I'll just accept the stuff.
You've not answered my question. I want to know if you umesema umekuwa ukitafuta management and you even got one, but you didn't agree, particularly on money terms, sindio?
Yeah.
So, wakati uko pale nje kama msanii unatafuta a good management, unaangalia nini haswa? What, like this management, what does it need to provide for you as an artist? What exactly are you looking?
Supporting music, supporting my music.
Your music.
That's the case.
In what way?
Like expand my music, you know, to be listened all over, to be heard out there. Yeah, that's all I want for my music. Yeah, just to grow my industry. Yeah.
To grow your craft.
Yeah.
To grow your craft in the music space.
Yeah.
Now, 3 years before you did your first video, aside from that management bit of it, let's talk a bit about resources.
Resources?
Yeah, because you're going to cab for a good while before you released your first video.
Yeah.
So then, you could just how we release your video. Where did you get the resources from? Was it from friends?
Not really, not really. Actually, it was my first salary that I used to.
Oh, so you're actually working, eh?
Yeah, I was. That was the first year I was working, and it was my first salary. So I had to do that song because I really wanted to do a music video.
Which song was this?
Fine Girl.
Tell us a bit about that.
Well, Fine Girl, it's basically based on singing to a lady. It was a collaboration first of all. So we were 3 people. And
your first video was that. This was also your first song, eh?
Yeah, yeah. It was my first. No, not really my first song. It was my first video song.
Okay.
Yeah. So we collaborated with some 2 guys, Maharaja and Christoph. So we had to do some. We had to put it in a manner that we had to do a video. It was a bit, let me not say expensive that much, but it was a good video. Back then when it was my first video, you know. So, and the video is basically speaking about a lady. I was singing for a lady. We were just praising the lady on how good she looks, yeah. So that's stuff, yeah.
So as you do collabos, because that's not the only song in which you've done a collabo, you've done various collabos.
Yeah.
What are you looking for, or what do you look for in an artist to collaborate with?
Well, you know, first, before we collaborate, we have to sit down. We have to write. When we write, we have to rehearse. When we are rehearsing, it's when I will realize that this guy has got the vibe that I need. You know, yeah, everybody has got their own different vibes. So I just have to match the vibe with mine. If it goes, if it flows together, so we work out. Yeah.
So for you, it's just the vibe. Any vibe,
yeah, if you have the vibe and the content, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. If your content is rich and the vibe is good, yeah.
If the content is rich.
Yeah.
All right. How then would you describe your style of music?
I could describe it as Afro dancehall. Yeah, Afro dancehall and a little bit hip hop somehow. Yeah.
And actually, I've watched quite a number of your songs, and they have that dancehall
stuff. Yeah.
Dancehall style in it. Why that specific style? So is it another wave of gengeton still taking over, the Kenyan space?
Yeah.
So why the style of dancehall and intertwine it with Afro?
Well, being brief about that, I guess it's because it's my vibe. Yeah.
It's your vibe.
It's my vibe. Dancehall has always been my vibe. Yeah.
All right, talk to us also about Nyakerario that you've sung in
my local language.
Your mother tongue.
Yeah. Well, Nyakerario is also a song that I sang for a lady, but well, specifically that's not her name. Nyakerario is just a Kisii name. So I wrote that song back in 2019, and my people were like, hey, you're singing, we can hear your music, but we really need something of our own kind, you see. So, and I was like, someday I'm gonna give you something, and I hope you're gonna accept it and you're gonna like it. And actually it had a good reception back then there. Till now it's being aired on local channels, and I'm grateful to that. Yeah.
So you say that your people are like, you're singing, haujatupatia kitu yetu, and this is what also informed you to write a song in your local dialect. So then does it mean that audience inform the kind of content you create as an artist?
Well, partly it does. Partly it does. But I also wanted to do something, and it's not the only song that I've done in my language. You've
done several others.
Yeah, there are others, but though there's a mixture of language, Swahili and Kisii. Yeah.
Well, when you look at good number of artists, they would release English songs, Kiswahili, but they wouldn't miss to release a song in their local dialect, if it's Luya, Luo, Kisii. Do you think you're getting at a point whereby artists, should I say, are more or less appreciating, where we come from in terms of culture, in terms of language? Because also when you look at theater, just like what we saw there, it's being done in Luo.
Yeah.
So are we getting to a point where artists are sort of like moving towards that direction?
Well, I don't think so, but it's always good. It's always good to do something that, let me just say, something that the audience will always accept, you see. So I don't think it's that we are heading that way, but I think it's something that we should have done.
Kitambo.
Yeah.
When you say that we should do something that the audience will accept, don't you think that would make an artist look like someone who doesn't have a sense of direction, so to speak, in this way? I mean, if your audience keep dictating what you need to release in terms of content, then where kama msanii, do you really have a sense of direction? Because if today, if the audience feel like now you should release a gospel song,
well,
for instance,
it's always good to listen to what people say, but now decision making, it's yours. If you really think that it's good to do what they have said, then you have to give them something, but not in their own way, that the way they want. You see, no, they're not going to make decisions for you. Yeah, you will have to make your own decisions, but we as an artist, we always have to appreciate, and what we do it because of the audience, partly, you see. So I have to give you something that you're really gonna like. So I'm gonna listen to your ideas, I'm gonna collect them, and then I'm gonna put it into something. Yeah.
So it means that audience, in one way or another, also play a key role in the kind of content that artists create out there.
Somehow yes.
Somehow yes.
Yeah.
Somehow no. Depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
All right, let's stick to that content bit a bit. So do you write your own music? Does someone write for you? And what informs the kind of content you create?
Well, I always write my own content. I always do write my own content. And even before I started writing my own content, I used to be a content writer back then. I could write a song for you, and then if it's good, we talk about it, and then I give it to you.
So you've done that for some artists?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, that's quite interesting. All right, so then what informs? Is it your environment, things you've gone through, societal issues? What exactly informs the kind of content you create, whether it's for your own or for other artists?
Well, if you come to me and if I'm doing this, and you come approach me and you tell me that I want a content talking about this, I'm gonna sit down and think about it, and then I'm gonna create something concerning what you've told me. Yeah.
What about you?
Well, me myself, sometimes it's something that has already happened to me, you know, something that I'm feeling, something that I'm thinking. Yeah.
Which song is this you've done that is as a result of something that has happened to you? Because you have a couple of them. You have quite a number of songs.
Yeah, you see, like some party songs. You know, the first time that I went to party, I had to collect some stuff from that party. So I wrote the Weekend song because it was, I wrote it Weekend. It's called Weekend. Yeah, it was on a Friday night and we were going out. It was my first out, like the biggest party I've ever gone, the first weekend. Yeah, so I had to write a song about that. And about Nyakerario too, it's something that has happened to me. Yeah, so I had to write a song about that. Yeah.
What is this that exactly happened to you that led you to write?
Well, it's a good feeling. It's not a, yeah, it's a good feeling.
It's just a good feeling,
yeah.
Appreciating someone.
Yeah.
Oh, quite interesting. All right, now you talked about not having a management. You said you're looking, for a management that could really just help push your career through.
Yeah.
But then in this years that you've been in this space, and we'll begin from that 2015, because much as you hadn't really recorded your first video, but bado ulikuwa kwa industry, did you have someone to like guide you, tell you this is how the industry works, this is how you need to even push your content to media, this is what you need to do? How was that like for you?
Well, it's been, let me just put it like, I've met several people. They've spoke to me about pushing it and doing that, but it's just that I've never had enough time to sit down with someone who's big, someone who has made it, to tell me what to do. But I just see what's going on. So, and I usually like listening to interviews of big artists and their prosperity, So I always follow that. I think that's my.
So you'd say like that, being in that space where you just watch, listen, is what has been mentorship for you and learn.
Yeah.
So then do you feel like not having physically met someone to, let me say, mentor and guide you, has sort of not resulted, has it in any way not made you reach where you wanted to be maybe right now as an artist? Because you've been in this space for over 5 years, I can say.
7 now.
Yeah, imagine.
Yeah. So the thing is, I'm already used to being alone, trying to find out solutions by yourself. Yeah, but I could be grateful and thankful if someone ever comes and lifts me up, show me the way, Yeah.
Then in your perspective, do you think that this is one of those things that artists miss a lot? As in kukua tu na support system, guide system.
Yeah.
So unapata mtu like, if they would have made 10 steps in 2 years, they make like 1.
Yeah.
Is it one of those things that is lacking even in the industry?
Yeah, it is, support is something that is very important to any artist, even to anyone, even from your growth, your parents had to support you, to push you up till now, you see. So support is something that we always need. We all need support. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
If you make it in life, you really need some sort of support somewhere, somehow. Yeah, you can't do it alone, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Much as you didn't have a mentor, someone who's been in the industry to tell you what to do, what not to do, even if kunaendanga, how about your family?
Well,
also when you said, now me, I want to do music.
Well, actually, when the first person I told was my dad. My father's been always the closest person to me. So I told him, like, I just came with a song and played, and I told him. Yeah, and I told him because I wanted to get his opinion, and so I played the song and I asked him, what do you think about that song?
Yeah.
And so he said it's a good song. It's really a good song, and whose song is that? And I laughed and I told him that that's my song, and so he was like, right now you are doing music? And he was like, so you've decided you want to do music, like really music? I remember the funny thing he told me is that we will support you, but don't go to these bad companies and such stuff, to get money. Yeah, if you need support, we will give you support to do that. Yeah.
So you can say was this your dad and mom? or just dad?
It was my dad, yeah.
So then, would you say that really family in that respect has at least been supportive to your craft?
Yeah, they've always been supportive.
How, in what way has this, made you, of course it has made you feel good as an artist, but in what way has it grown your craft?
Well, receiving that support and comfort from your family,
because also
most especially,
they don't get that.
From their parents, like if they approve you of that and they're supporting you in any manner that you want, like, hey dad, I want some amount for my stuff, my video or something, and they show you that support, you see, that's a very good thing.
It goes a long way.
Yeah.
All right, making a good video, roughly, how much does it cost?
Well,
I mean, because we talk about resources being a very big challenge for artists. We always keep thinking, sasa video 3 minutes inaweza kuwa kwani na cost pesa ngapi? We think, it's just 2 minutes thing. This thing cannot be that expensive.
Well, that before that video, it's being combined to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It can take even days.
To shoot.
Yeah.
You've not included in that pricing.
Yeah.
So it really costs a lot.
It costs a lot.
And it takes a lot because also in terms of shoot days and locations.
Location, you have to pay for locations too.
Wow, it's quite expensive just to get that 2 or 3 minutes or at most 4 minute video. So when people watch this content, they really need to appreciate what has gone in there. It takes
it takes a lot.
All right. When you look at social media, in terms of also growing your craft, you have got quite a good following, particularly on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
How has that grown your craft and also your audience base in terms of them seeing your content, what you can do, pushing your music out there?
Well, first of all, if you get a good number of people who are following your music, following your content, you will feel motivated. They always give you that positive energy and comfort to push you through to do some more stuff, you see. They are a motivation, actually. If you get more of those stuff, it's not quite easy to have followers, mostly on YouTube.
Yeah. And legit organic followers.
So if you really get a good number of people appreciating your content, it motivates you to even want to do more, give them more, like you feel like you don't want to disappoint them again.
So it makes you feel like you're sort of, you owe them in terms of giving them good quality content. Okay, then how do you deal with those negative comments or negative criticism? Because I mean, being in that space, social media.
Well, when it comes to that, I'm always like, let me say, I never mind about negative.
And have you gotten that?
A lot. It's always there. It's always there. Yeah, not everybody's gonna like you or what you do. But as to me, I always put negative energy to negative content.
So you don't pay attention to that?
I don't. Actually, I don't. Even from the first, when I read your comment and I just see it's a negative, I don't even complete reading that comment. I just leave it. Like I go to something else.
I will not focus with this.
I won't. It won't pull me down. I always ignore that.
All right. So as we wind down this conversation, Ken, what next for you, kama msanii? What should your fans, the audience that you target, expect from you?
Well, from my last video, it's been quite some time now, but it's just that I've been working on something much, much better than what I gave last. So that's why it has taken me quite some time. And I will promise them to wait for something very cool, and I know they're gonna like it. They're gonna be even surprised about how did this happen.
All right.
Yeah.
Speaking to your camera, what wakupate happy on the socials?
Well, social media, official Kababaye on my Instagram, Facebook Kababaye KE or Madilu Kenya. YouTube, you can find me at official Kababaye. Into brackets, you can type Madilu Kenya.
All right. So what I gave it to freshy.
Yeah.
Cool, nice content coming their way.
Yeah.
All right, good place to end this conversation. And I have been speaking to Kennedy Madilu, aka Kababaye, obviously talking to us about his content, music, and how this has been for him since he began this music journey in 2015. And ultimately, we are not done with Good Morning Kenya. There's still plenty more on the other side of this break, so stay with us.
The National Youth Service will hold its pass-out graduation ceremony this Friday, 10th of June 2022. His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta will be the guest of honor during the pass-out parade to be held at NYS Training College in Gilgil, Nakuru County. Follow the proceedings live on KBC Channel 1 this Friday from 9 a.m. NYS, go on, be great.
Master! Zeno, when will my master finally wake up?
What? You weren't hoping that you could be the king, right?
I'd never.
Really?
I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay here with my master.
You're right. I killed her. I did it with my own bare hands. I took her by the throat just like this. And I choked that. When did you become so powerful?
Overtime niyo ya kuuza insurance. Zio insurance mpaka uziuze ndo mimi nipate kitu.
Hayo hayakuhusu. Yanihusu manake mimi pia namtaka Dingo. Na kwa hivi sasa Dingo na Lea hawaelewani, wako vitani.
I'm not joking, Jackie.
And I had you the first time.
Mimi simtaki hapa kwangu. Yeye aende akatibiwe huko kwa mume wake.
Juhudi zako za kunikosesha mimi na matatizo zimefeli.
I actually think I was wrong about Jonty.
You are?
Just stop. Just stop.
Webe yako inaenolewa. Inaendelea kunolewa tu.
Nikiwa tifu, mjue mtaishi huku hivi.
Leo iko siku ya mwisho na kuona hapa, sawa?
Stop whatever you're doing and leave. Tifu, kwani mimi ndio nimefanya ukasirikage? You're fired.
Hey.
Why are you testing my patience?
Watch your mouth, young lady. Wayune is older than you.
And who do you think hired her?
It's your boyfriend you should be angry at. Behind bars. Where he belongs, or just looking the way he does.
Really, Kathy?
Tonight, it ain't about wins. And the sword of hell ain't about losses. It's about pain.
Pillman Jr. has cut some weight competing here in the middleweight division.
Right now, it's showtime.
Differently.
The
doctors have recommended that I go for the treatment first, the metal to be removed from my leg.
I've been hoping to record my music, but my hope seems to fail because I've been getting many promises from people telling me that they are going to support me in music and like that, but it has been failing.
Kama unaweza enda hospitali uende utibiwe, doctor's advice is the best.
Differently abled, differently.
Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. Our next interview is very multi-talented. He's a musician, entrepreneur, architect, and actor. I'm talking about Dan Aseda. Welcome to the
Asante.
Good Morning Kenya
Happy
studios.
To be here. This is the biggest studio in the country, by the way.
It is actually. It's quite beautiful, right?
Yeah. I think also is it not the best purpose-built studio in Kenya's history, I think?
I think in East Africa, not just Kenya.
Yeah. I would agree.
If I can toot the studio's horn.
I would agree. Yeah.
Karibu sana kwenye studio.
It's a pleasure.
Now, I want us to discuss a few things today because you're involved in quite a few things like I listed. Another fun fact about you, you've got 2 degrees.
Yes, I do.
As in, I remember looking back, thinking back, would I go back just to get another one? You know?
Would you?
No. But I'm encouraging people back at home to go and do you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Your educational background in architecture.
Yeah.
Why did you go back to get another one?
Well, I was always passionate about architecture, to be honest. I love design. I love the idea that as a human being, you can make the space that you live in. So I love that. And so it was something that was always driving me since I was younger. So even after the first degree, I was very convinced that I have to finish this thing and do the second one. And for context, what they do in architecture degrees now, because the course is very long, is they split it into 2. So you do the first bit, then you can come back and do the second bit.
So the first one was actuarial science.
Architectural studies.
Architectural studies.
Yeah. So that allows you to work under an architect. And then if you want to be an architect yourself, you go back and now do the full architecture degree.
Wow.
So unarudi unafanya mbili. But I mean, to be honest, it's something I love doing. So I really enjoyed my time in the university. The University of Nairobi.
But you know, you're very involved with a lot of creative things. Like I said earlier, you're an actor, you're a singer, and a songwriter, by the way. Let's talk about this songwriting before I go to your music. You've written a lot of songs for, a lot of, well-known people.
Yeah.
How did you get into that aspect of music?
Actually, that was how one of the first ways I got my break. When I first started working in music, I worked under Kanji Mbugua at Kijiji Records, and he was working on some projects of his own. And so he needed people that could give him new material. So that was the first introduction, so shout out to Kanji. And also, for me, songwriting is something that I'm not doing as much of it now as I would like to, but it's something that I've actually loved doing. It's another way to express yourself. For instance, I worked on my last kind of big songwriting project. I worked on the Softie, the movie, the soundtrack to that song, to that movie I wrote. And I really, really loved working on it with King Kaka, Giuliani, Miriam. and a few others. Fantastic. The movie went to Sundance, which is the biggest film festival.
It's one of the biggest movies in the country.
Yeah. It's an exciting movie. Really wonderful song.
So that's, just another thing to add to, your many accolades.
Well, I'm happy. I'm happy for the opportunity. I'm grateful for the opportunity to work in these different spaces. My mom always used to say that you are the person you are in this moment. So you're not your job. You are right now. You're this thing, but you can change tomorrow.
That's quite powerful.
Yeah. She's a big inspiration to me.
So how did you now start doing your own thing in music?
Yeah, that's also something I can trace back to, just guidance and leadership from Kanji. Because Kanji was also, as we were coming up in the industry, and by the day, I went to Kijiji when I was a teenager. I was barely 17, I think. But he was teaching us how to build your own sound, build your own character, make yourself a person who can operate in the space. And so he was really pushing us. And so I knew even at the beginning, this guy is pushing us to become our own artists. And so that became something that everyone knows. And all of us who came from that stable are our own artists now. Myself, Joseph Hellon, Aaron Ribui, Giuliani, Esther, Riga, I think to some extent Atemi. Everybody is their own artist, and they're all standing on their own art.
Just like you, like I said, you've won a lot of awards.
Yeah.
There's, the Kisimas,
Those were fun to win. It's a great opportunity. Look, awards are very good because they validate the work you've been doing.
That validation part, that's what I want to, find out.
Yeah.
How does it feel, or how did it feel at that moment to get that acceptance from your peers, people you looked up to when you were coming up in the industry?
Man, the first Kisima was unbelievable because when I was nominated for Songwriter of the Year and Song of the Year, I was nominated along Eric Wainaina, Kevin Waire, and I don't remember the other name. Oh, Susanna Oyo. And these are people, when I came, these were the people that I looked up to. I know Eric's music back to front. I can sing it backwards. And so to be in the same category with him was a huge honor. And when they called my name there, I could not believe it. It was an unbelievable thing. Anyway, it's one of those things. You thank the lucky stars. And like I said, it's a great opportunity to be in the space with these great names. And hopefully we can also add to the history of Kenya.
Did you get an opportunity to have a conversation with Eric after winning the award?
Yeah. Eric has been a big influence as well, and has taught me a lot in my music. And so we're in touch. Even today we're in touch. We're very good friends. We've worked on many other projects even after that. So cinema rafiki sana.
Okay, now let's talk about the inspiration part. You worked with Kanji. Like you just said, you were looking up to, Susan Awio and, Eric.
Yeah.
But who else inspired you to get into music?
Okay, so there's some emotional inspirations, which is like my parents. My parents are big on music. My mom, very big Yvonne Chaka Chaka fan, very, very big. And a lot of South African music. And so she had the records. And then my dad was also a big reggae fan. And he used to play music every Saturday morning. So this is kind of how I listen to a large variety of music because of that. So alikuwa na to introduce sana kwa muziki, which was something that I really appreciate. So that really got me started. And then of course when we started and then church was a big influence because I was in church a lot, and pastors at that time were encouraging us a lot to stay in church and learn instruments. So I play many instruments because of spending time in church. Now uko, so you have to play this and then play that. And that was fun. And there's one person I'd like to really appreciate, and actually this building, Tony Msalame, was the first person to play my music here when I was a teenager. I think I was 15. I sent him a song via the post, I think. He received it and he played it on a Saturday morning show. I forget the name of the show. But Tony was a very big driver of music. I remember the first time he played my song, I think I was barely in Form 1. And he gave a lot of people their first airtime. And so the work that this building has done in the music industry is something that should be remembered, and people like Tony especially, they were really, really good. And if those guys don't give you that way in, you'll never get in. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Now we're going to go back to the music, because like I said, there's so much to cover with you. But especially this year, the talk of the town is Summer Box.
Yeah. Semabox is my little baby who's now growing up.
Before you describe what Semabox is, let's talk podcasting. Because I think there's a lot of people, it's still, new in Kenya.
Yeah.
There are people who want to find out more about podcasting. So how can we describe it?
I guess a podcast, we can say the easiest way to describe a podcast is content that you consume on demand. So this is either audio content or video content. So somebody makes a show and then you consume it when you want to consume it. The slight difference from the work that you guys do at the institution here is that you guys are scheduled content. So to watch you at a specific time. But with podcasting, the consumer can watch whenever they want. And that's the biggest difference. So, of course, because it's produced in that way, it's available on the internet, there's a little more freedom in terms of topics, in terms of things that people can cover that maybe mainstream media may not be able to cover. So, for example, if I want to cover stories from, let's say, a place like Bumala town in Western Kenya, which I like to go to. If I want to cover stories from Bumala, there's not every story from Bumala would make it on the news at KBC because KBC is interested in a national coverage. But because Bumala is important to me, and there might be other people like me, I can make a story about Bumala that other Bumala people would also be interested in. And that can be living online. So you find Bumala podcast might have all these Bumala people listening to it because now that's just theirs. And that's kind of what podcasting is allowing people to do.
Now Semabox. It's you're the founder. It's your initiative. Let us know who can join Semabox. What is Semabox about? What can we expect in terms of content?
Yeah, so Semabox is basically we're a podcasting studio. We provide technical support to people to be able to make podcasts. Everybody has a story to tell, but not everybody knows how to technically record, edit, and all that. So Semabox provides the support for them to be able to do that. And we do this. We've been around for about 18 months now. We've worked with over 200 creators. We've shipped over 600 episodes, and we have 5 million views all across the world. So we are very happy and proud for the work that we've done. Anybody can work with us. We are quite open. You simply have to go to semabox.net, and then you'll find us there, and there'll be a way for you to work with us. And we're excited. We are happy to help people write and make content that is fresh, that is interesting, and that can give a perspective that doesn't exist in the world in another way. So that's one of the biggest goals we have at the company. And then the second thing that we're trying to achieve is also to find ways for the creators themselves, the people telling the stories, to make some money from this work. Because podcasting is still new, so we don't have existing business models. It's not yet built, but we are working towards it, and we are looking for ways that can happen. So in a nutshell, that's the work that we are doing.
There are certain people who might confuse podcasting with what they see on YouTube. Is it one and the same? Is it a derivative? Is it how do they relate with each other? I
think the way you've called it a derivative is the right way. Look, content can exist in many different forms. The digital space has allowed us to take even a story that was in the newspaper to now become consumed in different ways. So you can take a story in the newspaper and you can make a video, you can make audio content about it. So video just stretches the audience that your content that can access your content, but your content is always the same. It's a story. So if you write it, or if you record it with voice, or if you add video, it doesn't matter. We're just adding different ways for people to consume your story.
Okay, let's say I'm so green, but I have so much to say. And I have a few friends, or I'm by myself and I want to start a podcast. Semabox is available, semabox.net.
Absolutely, yeah.
But how do I go about it?
We will ask you, well, you can go to semabox.net, you can call us on our phone line, and then you get in touch with us. But when you get in touch with us, we'll ask you to find clarity. So we'll ask you questions like, okay, why is this the story that you want to tell? And you say, I have a reason for that. I come from Bumala and I like Bumala. Okay, so you come from there and you like
coaching in a way.
We must coach because production is important. The best storytelling in the world is driven by very good research and very good writing.
So quality is especially important with Semabox.
Especially important. We try to make and help all our creators get better every day. The guys in my office who work at Summerbox will tell you, we don't stop anyone to tell their story, and we don't want you to be perfect, but we want you to get better every single day you are here. So if you can get better, then we're with you, and that's a big goal for us as well.
With the way you're telling your stories, let me ask you now, in terms of quality, have you ever been in a position where you had to tell someone, maybe rethink the direction of...
Yes. We have had many situations where we've had to work with our creators and kind of maybe sometimes decline. We don't like to, but we have to in some cases. Specifically, if we think the story is not authentic, we may have to decline. If we think the story is not being told with ethics and dignity of the subjects, we may have to decline. And then, of course, the standard things. If you're inciting people to hate speech or things like those, unfortunately we decline because we have to work within general media ethics principles. So those are the things that would say we decline a story. But in general, we allow a lot of stories to be told. And anyway, nobody needs to insult anyone to tell a good story. Yeah.
It's interesting that you talked about hate speech because we're in an election year.
Yeah.
How can podcasts, create that conversation among the youth?
Yeah, I would say, well, we can. There's an opportunity for us to speak to the topics that are driving this election and also the topics that are inspiring our daily lives in general. Podcasts are not the only people who should be working against hate speech. I think everyone who's working in media needs to this is something we all need to rally and work on together. But there's a huge opportunity for podcasters specifically because they speak to very niche audiences to be more direct and say, look, we can have a healthy competition of ideas, we can have a healthy competition of personalities without insults. And that's perfectly okay. Nobody should actually feel like they need to insult a person for them to make their point at all. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Like you said, summerbox.net is where you can get more information about podcasting. It's a really good initiative.
Thank you.
Back to the music.
Okay.
There was an online magazine that said you are among the top 10 male voices within the country.
I was very flattered by that. I was very, very flattered because there are very, very good singers in the country. It's very flattering, and that's a kind of recognition, validation that helps artists really believe in themselves. So thank you, whoever wrote that article. I really appreciate you, and thank you for everyone else who's been listening to my work and consuming my work all these years. Because I've made music since I was a teenager. I'm no longer a teenager. Yeah, I've made music for over 20 years now.
But, with age comes wisdom and all that. So
yeah.
Now, with that said, this is what I love to do with voice.
So I apologize in advance if you don't speak advanced Latin. But I'm sure you know it in the language that you speak. It was my grandmother's favorite hymn. And so I'll try and sing the first verse and then the chorus only. Because that's how I designed it initially when we wrote. And my engineer who recorded this initially is here. So shout out to Doris as well. Aretoka wotho eyo madhi malo dalo duto karango pile ni mondo ruth otinga malomo loyo ruth tinga malomo ndachung kaiewe cheni duto metingama lomo loyo abet kapa koi pile.
Awesome
Thank
stuff.
It's a pleasure.
I do agree with that article. You have one of the best voices within the country.
Thank you very, very much.
Now, what's next in terms of music?
This is an interesting year. I think for music, I am trying to put together a musical, which hopefully we'll be staging in December. if Becky Mwikia, who's a producer, one of the producers of the show, pushes hard enough, I think we'll do it in December. I have been working on something else musically as a release, but I don't think we'll be ready this year. So maybe release something next year. That's what's kind of coming up.
Oh, when you say you're going to release something, because already you have 4 studio albums.
Yeah.
So is it an EP that's coming up?
No, it's the 5th album.
The 5th album?
The 5th album, yeah. We actually have written the music.
I think you're one of the hardest workers we have in the country in terms of entertainment. Because I've been asking a lot of artists, why are you not making albums? Even Beyonce was asking artists, why are you not making albums?
I think it's tough.
Why do you think so? Why are people not creating bodies of work?
I think it's tougher now for them to make albums because it's harder to sell an album. It's harder to sell a group of work, a collection of work, than it is to sell one work. So people are making the decision to just sell one at a time.
Is it hurting the music industry?
I wouldn't say
because here's the conversation. A group of artists are saying that momentum of just releasing singles is enriching the streaming service.
Okay, yes, correct.
And not the artists.
Correct, I agree. Yeah, I agree. So what they're talking about is a broken business model. The business model for selling and distributing music is broken in the digital space because the streaming platform is collecting the revenues and then they are deciding what revenue will be given to the artists. So that's problematic because if the two of us have an album on the same platform, but mine is more popular than yours, we should not be earning the same amount of money. That's standard market principles. Because there's more demand for mine, I should have a higher price. So, of course, that's a broken business model, and I agree. I think streaming platforms must change the way they are operating. I also strongly believe that they will die in the next 5 years unless they change, because there'll be more shift. Injustice doesn't last very long in capitalist environments. People will shift. So yeah, but I do agree with the artist saying that, look, it's a challenge for me to sell on this platform and I want to find a different way to do it. Making albums is one way, because the good thing about an album is that it helps you mobilize your music around a collection, and that helps you build a community. And once you have a community around your work, it's easy for you to go directly to them. So now you don't need the streaming platform. You can say, hey, my community in Kisumu, I'm coming to Kisumu tomorrow. And so then people will come and watch you, and then you can make revenues that way. And you don't need the streaming service. The people who are doing this the best are, Kenya likes to call them ethnic musicians. I like to call them the classic Benga musicians. You know, the guys who are Samido, Prince Inda, these types of guys, they are already going directly to their consumers, and that's the way forward. Build your community and talk directly to them.
Talk directly to the people. Thank you so much. We've had so many conversations, and I feel like there's a lot more in store.
Call
in
me
terms
back.
of.
I'll be happy to come back.
Of course, of course. But before we conclude, like I said, you're very multi-talented. You've done a lot of things. But a lot of young people are looking up to you. They're not done a setup, which reminds me, Cheesy.
Yeah. The artist formerly known. Ilitoka kwa Dr. Jones Mwenda. Dr. Jones Mwenda was my classmate in high school, and he's the one who came up with that nickname. Dr. Jones now in South Africa, shout out to you, but I had to drop it because I felt that I had changed as a person, and so I wanted to
change. Quite cheesy.
Yeah, but he actually gave me the name. It was very flattering why he gave me the name. I won't say here. It's very flattering why he gave me the name, but I think I just changed and became a different person. So
okay,
yeah.
Dan, aka Cheesy, I said that. What advice would you give someone who wants to get into the entertainment industry? Because I think you've seen all aspects: the acting, the music, the podcasting, the production. So, what advice would you give someone?
That's a very deep, layered question. But if I had to say, I would say just two things. The first is go to school. The world is full of artists of every kind. So it's time for the world to see musicians and artists who have a worldview and an analysis that has the benefit of all the knowledge that has come before us. So as much as you can, go to school. And then the second thing I would say is you should always believe deep in your heart that you are special, and the thing that you can do, nobody else can do. And once you believe that in your heart of hearts, it will drive everything that you can do. Yeah. I'm inspired. I hope you are. I am inspired, and I hope the people back at home are inspired as well. Watu wanaweza kupata Danaceda? Yeah, at Danaceda, DANACEDA on all platforms. I'm available, you know, we can always chat. And me, I'm always walking around, hanging out in places, so feel free to say hi. Those are lies, like it's okay. No, I'm available. I'm really actually quite available. I think I'm quite available. But yeah, you can text me, tweet me. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. We can chat. I'm happy to hear your voice and your point of view. Yes, that's at Danaceda, and of course, semabox.net for all you podcasters and future podcasters. Make sure you go and check out the website. We'll be back after this.
Jumamosi hii tarehe 11 mwezi Juni, barabara zote zinaelekea katika tamasha ya Mwatu Night hapo Nedland Inn huko Malili Konza. Kutana na watangazaji shupavu wa Mwatu FM kama vile Virginia Mwikali, Patrick Musango, David Ngumbao na Eric Makau. Msanii mashuhuri Kana Niko atakuja kuwatumbuiza. Usikose kuhudhuria tamasha la Mwatu Night na Mwatu FM.
Master! Zeno, when will my master finally wake up?
What? You weren't hoping that you could be the king, right?
I'd never.
Really?
I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay here with my master.
You're right. I killed her. I did it with my own bare hands. I took her by the throat just like this. And I choked out. When did you become so powerful?
Overtime ya kuuza insurance. Zo insurance mpaka uziuze ndo mimi nipate kitu.
Hayo hayakuhusu.
Yanihusu, manake mimi pia namtaka Dingo. Na kwa hivi sasa Dingo na Lea hawaelewani, wako vitani.
I'm not joking, Jackie.
And I had you the first time.
Mimi simtaki hapa kwangu. Yeye aende akatibiwe huko kwa mume wake.
Juhudi zako za kunikosesha mimi na matatizo zimefeli.
How could you be such a huge coward, Father? How could you leave my sister on her own? Darn you!
Kisii County is majorly known for its bananas and has been thriving on soapstone. Kisii candidates are gearing up for the next governor of this county. What is their agenda for Kisii? Don't miss the Kisii County gubernatorial debate from Kisii University this Thursday on the 9th of June exclusively on KBC Channel 1 from 9:50 p.m.
the sprawling suburbs of Nairobi's Lang'ata estate, we visit Bwen Eve Studios.
Right now you're in the studio, and studio entails a lot of things. As you can see, you might think these are decorations. These are not decorations, these are acoustic forms used for at least to reduce echo. Between this and the main wall, we have another treatment. We put something called rock wool. Some people put foam, and then you put gypsum, and then you put this. This one is just to reduce echo, but the main soundproof is behind this and the gypsum.
Studio gear are the main tools used in this production process.
Well, these are MIDI controllers. Some people will call them keyboard, but they're not keyboards. These are MIDI controllers. The control sound that we have on our DAW. DAW is our digital software that we use to record. We have so many kind of those softwares, but as we use the one that is called Logic. Then of course our computer, studio monitors, sound card, and that's our booth where there's microphone and our musicians sing from that side.
The song production process involves different kinds of sounds and instruments. So, what is the first step in the music production process?
It comes, we create from nothing to something. So we started by listening to his idea. I captured it immediately. I had to look for tempo. Tempo is the speed. Every song must have a constant speed and or time signature. In music, they call it time signature. So we looked for the time signature.
Some songs call for outsourcing of live instruments.
At some point, we usually outsource now live instruments, because when there's some songs, if you put live instruments, it gives the song very, very good classical sound.
But does everybody who comes to the studio qualify as a musician?
There's some who have money, but they can't sing. And even if you train them, you take them to school, they can't sing, but they're passionate about it. And that those who are just gifted. They come the first day, you listen to them, you're like, hey, we're working with this one. Again, they don't struggle.
The process begins when the producer meets with the musician in studio. Today, this singer is doing his own rendition over him.
I am blessed elaborate and souls of all, so I go by the name Real Man Redemption International.
The songwriting can happen before or after the artist comes to studio.
How I write my music? I really don't write my music at home. I love writing my songs in studio, because being inspired while the producer is just playing the keys, the keyboards.
The producer then sits down with the artist to get the general idea of what the singer wants.
This old version song naimbwa.
The producer kickstarts by finding a tempo. The tempo gives the song speed. Next, the producer finds the chords that will be a bed on which the instrumentation is laid.
Okay, so we try to get something.
Sometimes the song would demand for extra help from another specialist.
The other producer, so he came to help me to put some drums.
After that is done, the vocals are added.
Yeah.
The singer's voice is captured through the microphone. The audio file is then brought to the sound card. It comes as an analog, but the sound card changes the sound itself to digital through their computer software. This fine to the process, everything is considered as a demo, meaning there's room for more changes to be added to the instrumentation and the beat production.
The first instrumentation was the keyboard, the piano sound. Actually, I layered. Layered is whereby you mix more than one instrument at the same time, and then you play with the keyboard. So I layered electric piano or e-piano. I layered piano itself, and then some strings.
Next comes the mixing.
Mixing means positioning each and everything where it's supposed to be. You know, every instrument has a frequency, making sure that every instrument falls in the right frequencies and then also falls in the right position.
After the mixing is done, the song is mastered.
Making sure that every voice sits in its position. We pan. Like here you see we're panning left or right at the center, you get it? You see, this one is when we pan at the same time. We use some plugins also just to make sure that our voice sounds the way we want.
Mastering is the final stage in the music production process.
And then we have a song.
After the song has been mixed and mastered, the product is now considered ready for market. Reporting for KBC from Langata in Nairobi County, I'm Nisi Imano.
Yes? You have a stain in...
You and I are no longer friends. We are just partners.
Is that your last word?
Yes.
Overtime niyo ya kuuza insurance. Zo insurance mpaka uziuze ndo mimi nipate kitu.
Hayo hayakuhusu.
Yani husu manake mimi pia namtaka Dingo. Na kwa hivi sasa Dingo na Lea hawaelewani, wako vitani.
I'm not joking, Jackie.
And I heard you the first time.
Mimi simtaki hapa kwangu. Yeye aende akatibiwe huko kwa mume wake.
Juhudi zako za kunikosesha mimi na matatizo zimefeli.
Dolly, you remember the good old days?
The good old days. Can you start by looking for a job?
Dolly kicked me out of the house because I lost my job.
After everything that you've done for her, now she has forgotten.
Stay away from Basanga.
Do not talk to strangers or outsiders, okay? It's for your own protection, okay, boy?
In case your lies and all brings you some money, you have a son here who needs that money more than anyone else.
Just go back.
The emperor, I think, kind of built in this appreciation of what was happening in the rest of the continent.
For many, many years, he could not trust anybody else. He himself was Minister of Education.
He was really a very special, God-gifted person.